morning everybody, hope everybody's okay today. The sun is shining again, so that's always a good thing. I probably, if anybody does say hello, I probably won't be able to say hello and message you whilst we're doing the live because I'm not really that clever and I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. However, I will message you all back afterwards, so give us a shout, let us know you're there, and as I say, I will reply to you once we've finished. So without further ado, let me just point this down. So today, and I should have posted this last night, but I only just did this morning, and as my girls will all know that I'm like a lastminute.com, but today this is the card that we're going to do. So we're actually going to do a card today. So we are using the Julie Hickey Sunflower Bee stamp, which actually is one of my favourites. We are also using the Sunflower Bee die cut. Okay. And we're going to be using in the background Distress Oxides in Evergreen Bower, Blueprint Sketch and Chip Sapphire. And for our beautiful sunflowers, we're going to be using Craved Pumpkin and Wild Honey. I'm also using for my background Funky Fossil. Okay, Funky Fossil stencil. Now I'd like to just say that the background that I've done here, I watched a YouTube video by Mark Alexander from Visible Image, so it was a wonderful technique. I have done it in a class with some of the ladies at the shop, but I thought it was a good one for you to do because it's giving you another way of using your stencils. So you can use any stencils, the open ones are the better ones to use, but as I say, it's a really good way of using them. So let's pop that aside for now. So this demo might be a little bit longer than the one yesterday, so just bear with me. So I'm using Paper Mill Direct. I'm using their 300 GSM card stock. Okay, super smoothie, so it works with most things. And what I'm going to do first of all is I am going to pop this to one side and we're going to lay some colour down on our background. So I'm going to start off with Chip Sapphire. I need to put my glasses down there. I'm going to need those in a little while because I'm cutting out. So right, so lay down your colour. So as I said, that's Chip Sapphire. Add your water, and then we're going to hover our card over the top. Just tap it into areas. Okay, have a look where you're doing it. Don't go bang straight down. Okay, if you do that, what will happen is you'll end up just with colour all over. Let me just position this so you're not getting the glare. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you can see that I've just got the colour where I wanted it. I'm just going to heat that. When you're using oxides and water, you must make sure that in between each colour you heat it. If you don't, you're going to end up with mud. Okay, your colours will all mix up together and then you'll just have a really muddy background, and we don't want that. So I'll just finish that off quickly. Okay, so that's my first colour. My second colour, which is Blueprint Sketch. I can keep an eye on your comments, so if anybody can't see or there's a bit of a glare, just let me know and I'll see if I can alter the angle of the iPad. But again, we're hovering over and we are adding the colour where we want it. And you can be quite precise because where I'm pushing my fingers down, that's where the colour's going. So I'm happy with that. Mop it all up so I don't contaminate my colours as I go along. And then we're going to heat. I love these colours. I think they really complement each other, and that Chip Sapphire is lovely. It's got that really lovely sort of purple undertone. Even though I don't like purple, but I do like Chip Sapphire. Right, my last one, Evergreen Bower. And again, Push the colour down and give it a bit of water, and then I'm going to add that into the background. So I'm actually going to use 4 colours in total on my background. I'm going to use a little bit of scattered straw as well. Let's just mop that up. And then I'm going to heat that. So as you can see, all through the different layers, you can see the different colours. So I've got my evergreen bower on top. You can still see the blueprint sketch, and you can still see the chip sapphire, and they're sort of all layering up on top of each other. This actually has probably got to be my favourite technique. Scattered straw. No, let's what have I done there? Let's see. Hang on. Let's grab that out of there. Okay, so scattered straw. Oh dear. I'm just going to have a little bit of a drink. Now, if my daughter's watching, which I think she is, yes, Chloe, that's your bottle. I forgot to bring it back to you, so I'm just using it. I'm just using it, okay? Keeping it safe for you for when I can see you again. Okay, so add a little bit of water, and we're going to dip that into the places that I want. And again, you'll see that this colour just sits lovely on top. Okay, actually I might just do just a little bit more because I want that just a little bit stronger. Okay, that's better. Okay, perfect, lovely. Let me just dry that off. You'll notice again, like I said yesterday, I am lifting my card off of my glass mat to avoid any condensation between the card and the glass mat, and plus also it just dries quicker. If there's any little bits on there that you don't like, just dab them out. Let's clean that up. And there we go. There we have a background. Okay. Right, so the next part is we're going to use our stencil. I'm going to lay my stencil. Now you're going to need a bit of copy paper underneath because I use Sweet Poppy stencil tape, which is fantastic. I don't use any other stencil tape. Sweet Poppy is low tack tape, and I've never known it pull on any of my projects, so this is the one that I always use. Starting at the top, I'm going to lay down my tape at the top and at the bottom. Obviously it's a little bit, make sure you get that down nice and smooth. Just going to have a little bit at the sides, okay, and a little bit at the other side. Okay, and this is where the magic begins. I'm taking my Wow embossing pad, okay, because it's lovely and sticky. And now I would normally stand up and do this, but I'm going to do it sitting down today so that you don't see my great big chest hovering over the paper. Okay, so we're going to go all over and we're giving it a really nice push. Okay, now when you take this off, make sure you keep it in almost the same position, and I'll show you why. So we're going to take this off, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it straight over like that, so I know when I put it back on it just needs to go straight down. Take my clear embossing powder. This is Wow Clear, just regular embossing powder, and we're going to go right over the top. Okay, just tap it off, and I'll pour that back into my pot. Pop that back over there for the minute, and then we're going to heat that up. So making sure that that stays in the same place. I'm going to heat that, and I'm going to try and show you on here Just mind your fingers when you're doing that. When you are heat embossing, just be careful. Don't do this, okay? Because what happens is you get an uneven distribution of hot air, okay? And you'll end up heating one side a little bit and then the other side a little bit, and you won't be able to see where you've embossed, okay? But by tilting it like this, I don't actually know if you can see, but as my embossing is cooked, I move it on to the next area. And the lovely thing about using your primary colours and the clear, it goes from a dull look to lovely and shiny. Okay, and in just a second. So remember which way you had it laying down, which actually I can't, because I've moved it around now. I can't remember which way I had it laying down. So we'll have a bit of fun and games in a minute when I try and match it all up. So just make sure that you've heated it all over. So let me hold that up. So can you see that? Can you see we've got that, you've got the colours, or you've got oh goodness, the pattern of the embossing, of the stencil. That's what I'm trying to say, of the stencil. Yeah, the colours that I used, Louise, were, so for the background I've used Evergreen Bower, Blueprint Sketch, Chipped Sapphire and Scattered Straw. Okay, so that's at the moment, and they're oxides. Right, so now what I want to do is I want to place my stencil back over the top. And actually, even though this looks a bit of a complicated stencil, actually to marry it up, it's not too bad at all, because it's a design that goes, I don't know what the word is actually, a design that goes over and over again. What's the word? Come on, everybody. You can help me out here. Okay, right, so I've laid that back on top, and now I'm going to go over it again. So pushing my embossing pad through the stencil. You might need to just hold on to it this time, just a little bit on the low tack tape. There we go. Okay. Take that off, because we're not going to need that again. And then we're going to pour our clear embossing powder over the top again. So we end up with a double thickness. Just give it a little tap just to get that excess off, and then pour it back into the pot. Put it out the way so you don't knock it over, and then we're going to heat that again. I'm going to try and do that so you can see. So for anybody that's not embossed before, and I know that there are quite a few of that out there that probably haven't, can you see that change? As that changes, I'm moving my heat gun all the way around, and you're going to end up with this really lovely double embossed stencil image on the back of your background. And as I say, you can use any stencils for this. The more open ones are the better, and you want something with a definite pattern on it, but you can pretty much do it with any of them. Funky Fossil is a new company that we've just started using in the shop, and I know that Eileen's doing a Facebook video today at some point, and she's also using Funky Fossil, so don't miss that one either. Okay, so if I hold that there, you'll see you've got a really lovely double emboss pattern. You see? I think that's so pretty. Okay, so that's our background done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start on our sunflowers. So I've got a piece of A5 paper mill direct card, and this time I'm using Wild Honey. And again, I'm doing my swooshing on my card because actually it's my favourite technique. And we're just going to, again, like we did last time, smoosh it all over our paper. Pop your fingers exactly where you want it. Okay. Nearly there. That's it. I'll just add a little bit more water. My water spray seems to have stopped working. It's only giving me a little bit of water. But hey, okay, so that will do. And then I'm going to heat it. because we don't want our colours to muddy. And then I'm going to take my carved pumpkin and I'm going to do exactly the same again. Again, like I said yesterday, if there's anything anybody would like to see me do, I'm having a real problem with this little monkey. If there's anything anybody would like to see me do, if there's any techniques that you would you'd like to see, just give me a shout out on here. And I'll see what I can do for you. Right, my water spray is playing up. It's not working. Let's try that. A technical issue. Right, okay, hang on a minute. This will be interesting, won't it? Okay, let's just get a little bit more water into there. As you can see, because the water spray is not watering down the oxides very well, I'm getting this sort of patchier look, so not to worry, we can work through that. Okay, right, so that's how I'm going to end up with that. So not to worry, as I say, we can work through that. Let's just give that a blast with the heat gun. Let's pour a little bit more water onto here. Not quite sure why that has done that, but that's one of the good things, isn't it, about Facebook Live. Right, let's try again. Oh, no, that's going to be too watery, but hey ho. Right, okay. Let's just leave that as it is, I think. I'm going to just dry that off, and then I'm going to stamp my my sunflowers. As I said, I'm using the Julie Hickey sunflowers, which are actually one of my favourites. Julie's got a new release coming out at the end of this month. I think she's been doing some Facebook Lives on her Facebook page, so don't miss out on those. We will have those in stock at the shop, along with her alphabets as well. They're coming back into stock as well. So we're just waiting for those to arrive. Okay, right, so let's grab our sunflower, and I'm going to stamp this in carved pumpkin. Okay, so what I need is, I need 4 of these. Okay, so let's pop my piece of paper underneath, and I will need 2 full ones. Okay, so let's pop that there, because that will just give me a bit of a base for my stamping. I'd normally use my stamp and press, but it takes a bit longer in there, and most of you know how to stamp, so you don't want to be watching me stamping for the sake of stamping. And then I want 2 sort of off the page, so I'm just going to use this area here. That's it. And this area at the top. Okay. Alright, so you can see I've got 4 of my sunflowers on there. I'm just going to take, so I want, the only one you've got to cut out is the bottom one, and for this I need my glasses. Where did I put my glasses? Okay, here we go. Right. I can't see otherwise. So here's my glasses, and off we go. So I'm just going to very roughly go round this sunflower, so bear with me. If I'd have prepped this up well, I'd have already had one of these prepped up, but you know me, lastminute.com. I wasn't sure that I was even going to do a Facebook Live today, but I thought, you know what, if we do one every day at 11 o'clock, what do you think? Do you think that's a good idea, or will you be fed up with me? I'm not sure actually, Ginny. Do I tick a box and green tick to notify when you are going live? I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not sure. Hi, Beryl. No, I don't know. I'll have to look into that, Ginny, and see. Right, so as I say, I am just cutting round here. Oh, that's all right. Doesn't matter if you're late, because once this goes on, I'll post it, and you can watch it back. Plus, also you can sort of skim through as well, so that you don't have to listen to my waffle, and you can skim through and see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so all I've done there is I've cut that sunflower out, so I'm going to just pop that to one side. I can now die cut with the dies, because this actually doesn't die cut the whole sunflower, it only die cuts part of it. Okay, so marry that up. Let me just take that one off at the bottom. Okay, let's marry this up. This is always good fun. It's not too difficult, this one actually, it's quite basic, so you can bet your bottom dollar though it'll take me an age, because I'm on here and trying to do it quickly. No, I think that's it there. No, that's not it. Hang on, that's it there. That's it. Perfect. So I'm going to get some of my low tape, and we're going to die cut the whole one out there. No, I don't know if that is the right one actually. No, that's cool. That's done. Right, so let's just put a little bit of low tack tape just across there so it doesn't move, and I'm going to die cut that bit. There we go. So that's my die for that one, and then I'm going to die cut this next one here, which does save me a lot of time if I can marry them up. There we go. As you can see, it is quite easy. There we go. Yeah, if somebody does know actually what the question that Ginny asked about the green tick, just can you post it on there, because I'm a bit of a technophobe. I'm not very good at all of this. So, but yeah, I can do one daily. That's no problem. Right, I've cut that a bit wonky, but it doesn't matter. We're not going to worry too much about that. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Right, okay. Let's pop this one on. Oh, that was a little bit easier, wasn't it? That was a little bit easier. And I'm going to cut that one. Okay. So, let's get this out of the way. That in the bin, that over there. Okay, right, we're ready to go. So what I want to do now is I want to create that really lovely glossy look on top. Thank you. I got my die cutting machine. That's a go-kart. A go-kart. It's not a go-kart at all. It's a go-cutting Boss machine. I don't know where I got it from actually, it was quite some time ago. So I'm taking my first die, okay, which is the full centre one of that one. I'm going to get my Wow embossing pad, and I'm going to go right over it, stamping right over it. You could also go this way and push it into the pad, okay. And then I'm just going to turn that over, because obviously I've got embossing, the pad all over that, so all my embossing powder will stick to it. And that would be a waste, because I want to pour it back into my pot. Okay, so that now is all nicely covered. Pop that back in there. And then I'm going to heat that. Now I'm going to pop that on the piece of paper, and I'm just going to slightly lift that up. Okay, and that way I'm not going to burn my hands or anything like that. So I'm going to pop that on there, and can you see that changing? And that really deepens the colour as well. Really deepens it. It's beautiful. I do love clear embossing powder. I love embossing powder full stop. I don't think you ever stop being amazed when it changes. Right, okay, so just leave that to one side for the moment. That probably is okay. Yeah, that's dry, so that's fine. Right, so we can start putting our card together. I'm going to go around the edge with my carved pumpkin. And just with a little foam pad. You can use your smoothies if you want to. But just touch just around the edge. Just to bring that colour in on the background. Okay, because that just pulls the whole project together. Okay, that's that. Then I'm going to take my archival and just a very dirty smoothie. I always use this one just for my black archival. And I'm just going to touch around the edge. And this is instead of mounting it onto black card. Okay, so it just makes it pop off of the white card background without the expense of using black card. You could do it with a black Sharpie. There we go. And that you can see when I pop that down there, can you see how that makes it pop? Pop off of the white card. Okay, right, let me just put the lid on that so I don't have any accidents. Okay. So, before we start sticking anything down, what we need to do is we need to get our sunflowers into place. So, my bottom one, which I'm just going to move around, I'm just going to pull this back a little bit. Once we use double-sided tape to stick down, it'll all lay nice and flat like my one over there. That's funny, Trisha. Did you, are you a bit of a technophobe like me? Can you imagine the hours that I spent trying to work out actually how to do a Facebook Live? You're all going to think to yourselves, oh my goodness, we wish you'd never learned how to do a Facebook Live. Sick of listening to her dulcet tones. Right, so that one I've stuck right in the middle. For the next one, I'm going to stick off the page. Okay. Any of you that are just joining us just now, I am going to post this onto our Facebook page, so you will be able to watch it back if you've missed the first part of it. Okay, so I always use Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue. One, because it dries clear, and two, because you don't get that ripple. So if you use it with paper, sometimes when you put glue on, you get you can see the lines of the glue. But so far, I mean, please somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but so far I've never had that. So I've stuck that one on there, and you might be thinking to yourself, oh my God, what is she doing? But don't worry, there is a plan. There is a plan. So here we go. Stick my next one down. I just hold it in place just for a few seconds, because obviously we've got a lot of glossy sorry, keep saying I've got to stop doing that. A lot of got some oh gosh, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to shut up. Right, because of the shininess, we need to just stick that down nice and firm. You know when you know you're not supposed to say something and then you can't stop saying it. What a wally. Goodness gracious me. Okay, so you can see what I've done. Sorry, I've shut up there because I was trying not to say and I've totally thrown myself. Right, so what I've done is I've stuck those down. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to trim it. So this is a much easier way than trying to trim them and stick them down. So just cut from behind. There we go. There we are. Okay. So I've now got parts of my sunflowers. Right, so my next point is to take the centre one, and even though we've got embossing powder on there, if you're careful, you can just, between your thumb and your finger, okay, you can just mould that centre, and we're going to pop that on top. So a little bit of glue in the middle, and it doesn't even matter if it doesn't marry up. In fact, it looks better if it doesn't. So I'm just going to pop that in the middle. Now, while I've got my fingers on that to keep it in place, I'm just going to bend up those leaves or those petals so they've got a little bit of substance there, a little bit of dimension. Okay. There we go. Right. So that's where we are at the moment. Now, to finish it all off, I'm going to take my gold Sharpie. I'm not going to do as much as what I've done on here because you don't want to sit there and you don't want to watch me doing all of this. But basically, I've gone in all the little dots in the middles of my sunflower. So that's all these little ones here. Okay, so I've gone all in those. Now, also, I've gone round, and I have left this till last because you don't want to go over, you don't want to have to do the whole middle bit at the beginning because it's just a waste. Okay, so what I've done is in my flowers, okay, there you'll see there is a white part, and you can just go round that with your pen, and I'll pick this up and show you. It's actually coming out better on this one than it did the others. So just where you've got the white areas, just go round. Can you see that? Okay, so let me see if I can. So here, can you see here? You've got the outlines. If you just go round that with a white pen or with a gold pen or silver, whatever you want to, just go round all of these that are on show. Okay, I can't actually get many. It's quite difficult to get them in the light, but they are there. They are there. Okay, you'll be able to see them when you do it. Once you finish, just get yourself a 7x7 card. That sticks down like so. Double-sided tape because that will get rid of all this curling. And then I've used my Posca pen just to scribble round the outside like so. And that is what you end up with. Okay, so that's a really, really pretty card. Well, I really think it's a really, really pretty card. Okay, lovely. Right, well, thank you. Let me see if I can turn you around. There we go. Right. So, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you all have a good day. Let me know what you're up to, what you're crafting, what you'd like to see, what you don't want to see. And, yeah, just keep in touch, keep on watching, and I'll be back again at 11 o'clock tomorrow for another craft along. What I will do is I will try and put down tonight exactly what I'm doing so that if you want to craft along with me, then you can. Okay, see you soon. Bye.